Every year, thousands of tons of Doritos are consumed worldwide. To meet this enormous demand, massive harvesters collect tons of corn. But how are 70,000 bags of Doritos produced every day? We visited the Frito-Lay factory to discover how one of the world's most popular snacks is made. Doritos were created by a Frito-Lay marketing executive in the 1960s. He discovered crispy tortillas at a local restaurant in San Diego, California, taking advantage of an excess of corn tortillas that would not be used because they were broken or did not meet the standards for sale. He came up with the idea of cutting them into triangles, frying them, and seasoning them, thus creating the first Doritos. The word Dorito is actually derived from the Spanish word dorado, which means small pieces of gold. By 1988, Doritos had become the best-selling chip in the world, a trend that continues today with 10 different flavors. Unlike ordinary potato chips made from potatoes, Doritos' main ingredient is cornmeal. Corn cobs are carefully cut from the plants. It is important to make this cut cleanly to avoid damaging the grains and ensure that the cob remains intact. The harvesting capacity is 140 tons per day, which allows supplying the plant. The stalks are cut just above the ground, and then the cobs are removed and shot into a container. Once the container is full, the massive pile is transferred to a truck heading directly to the factory so that the corn can be processed. The supplier cleans and dries the grains. This is done on vibrating screens to remove dust from the grains and to take out stones and sand. Now it is necessary to ensure that the moisture content of the grains is increased until the moisture level is 14%, which is very important for the subsequent production process. Then they are sent to the nacho factory. This factory receives a delivery of 45,000 kilograms of corn every day. The dried corn is transferred from huge storage silos to a pot where it is cooked in water over a year. That amounts to more than 6,500,000 kilograms of finished product. That's a lot of corn. The Frito-Lay factory is one of the largest chip factories in the world. It can produce more than 100,000 nacho packs per day, which are then distributed to the market. The factory is divided into 4 main areas. In the corn area, tortilla-type products, such as Doritos, are made. In the middle, there is a 65,000 square meter distribution center. They produce 70,000 bags of Doritos per day, and that's approximately 18 million bags per year. The first thing that catches the eye upon arrival are the 2 threads, each with a capacity of 120 tons, where corn grains are stored. With its content, the factory can produce 20,000 kilograms of Doritos. This is 1:1 to make 1 Dorito. The corn must be cooked before going into the soaking tank. First, they are boiled in tanks with stirrers at a temperature close to the boiling point, then moved to 18 open tanks where they soak for half a day. Each cooking pot contains about 300 kilograms of corn and 90 kilograms of water. The corn grain is cooked up to 93 degrees Celsius for about 4 minutes. Then it is soaked for 12 hours. Once cooked, it is transferred to large tanks, where it soaks overnight to soften the grains. The cooked corn remains there for 12 hours to absorb more water. The soaking process allows the corn to absorb moisture and also helps to remove the corn husk, the outer wrapping of the grain. This machine filters the water so that all that remains is soft and hydrated corn. When the moisture content reaches 45% and the husks are soft and peel off, a pumping system sends the corn to the washer with water jets. The peeling husks are removed. The corn travels on a conveyor belt from the drum to the mill. After cleaning, it goes to a grinding machine where rotating millstones grind the corn into a dough. This literally pulverizes the corn grains between 2 stones, producing a soft corn paste. As it continues to grind, water is added to the flour, creating a corn dough. With the right consistency in the dough, 3 things are checked: moisture content, temperature, and grinding texture. The dough exits the mill through a narrow nozzle, giving it the shape of a thin sheet. The finished dough is inserted between 2 metal rollers, giving it a ribbon shape. The third roller cuts individual triangular nachos. Next, the sheet passes through rollers with triangular dies on their surface. The dough passes between these 2 rollers and then through the cutter, which gives the characteristic shape of Doritos like a cookie cutter. The sharp edges of the roller cut through the dough, leaving the perfect triangular piece. This machine can cut 6,000 individual chips every minute. That's more than 8 million every 24 hours. These end up on a conveyor belt that takes them to the next stage, the oven. Although this process seems very organized, there's always some dough left over, but it is not wasted. It is sent directly back to the dough tanks to start again. It's time to toast those tortillas. Some go to an oven at 340 degrees Celsius. However, this is no ordinary oven, as it has 3 levels and a temperature of several hundred degrees Celsius. The triangular nachos stay there only for a few seconds to give them the right texture and prevent them from drying out and sealing in moisture, allowing bubbles to form on the Doritos. The industrial oven seals the outer surface, retaining moisture and causing bubbles to form in the dough. This gives Doritos their crunch. They spend just 16 seconds inside, but it's enough time to dry the dough to a point where it doesn't break when handled. The heat traps tiny pockets of moisture in the dough, creating small bubbles. This gives Doritos their characteristic irregular texture. Then, the equipment cools the tortillas on a series of conveyor belts and sends them to the fryer. This brief rest also gives inspectors time to check that none have burned since leaving the oven. A conveyor belt carries the triangles to the fryer, and the oil is at 182 degrees Celsius. And the nachos only take 55 seconds to vary. It is here that the nachos acquire the right color and crispy texture. The bubbles on a finished Dorito are actually air pockets trapped in the chip created during the frying process. Next, a mesh conveyor belt removes them as they come out, and the excess oil returns to the fryer using vibrating conveyors. The Doritos are now transported to a special drum where they are mixed with the appropriate spices and ingredients. At the next stop, a screw introduces the nacho seasoning into a drum. Huge bags of the mixture are added to the top of the machine. They load a secret blend of cheddar cheese, Parmesan cheese, and spices into a hopper to be transported to the drum. The main ingredients are various cheeses, spices, flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate, and preservatives to extend the product's shelf life. Nozzles spray the nachos with rapeseed oil to make the surface more adhesive and make the seasoning stick. It may seem intimidating, but this massive drum evenly distributes the seasoning, and as the delicate chips travel in the drum, they act as shock absorbers, preventing them from breaking against each other. The seasoned Doritos embark on a long journey along 30 meters of conveyor belt to ensure they are completely cooled before being packaged. A product worth $4 billion annually. Once they exit the drum, the nachos travel to the packaging department. Hoppers guide them to the different packaging machines. The packaging device represents a technical choreography at its finest. Each machine has 14 cube-shaped scales. Doritos are positioned, then they descend through the measuring machine, where a series of spoons weigh precisely. A bag of Doritos. When there is enough for one package, a trapdoor opens. The nachos fall, and at the same time, a machine shapes a strip of aluminum and plastic to turn it into a bag. The nachos fall into the bag. Immediately it is sealed and cut by heat sealing, while the bottom of the next bag is closed. The bagging machine introduces nitrogen and seals it with a hermetic seal. This removes oxygen so they don't spoil, ensuring that Doritos stay fresh for a long time and creates an air cushion to prevent them from breaking. Each large bag of Doritos contains about 100 chips. A worker makes sure there are 8 bags in each box. This plant can manufacture and package 70,000 bags of Doritos every day. That's more than 18 million a year. If you like this video, share and subscribe to this channel by activating notifications to keep learning.